Who will eat pizza if Jennifer, yes? Harrison? Yes, yes, all right.
Party favor.
What does that mean?
Party favor. That was somebody you could take off the table.
Ellen DeGeneres is named in the Epstein documents, and that part is real. Her name appears in the broader index of over 300 high-profile individuals that...
But here's what nobody's connecting. The endless pizza jokes, the talk show, set that mirrors Epstein Island, the cozy on-air laughter with Diddy, the teenage Justin Bieber thrown into private worlds. He was never supposed to survive. Tonight, we pull every thread together into one inescapable picture. The mask is off, the files are open, and the silence is finally breaking. In January 2026, the Department of Justice released a historic flood of Epstein-related materials. More than 3 million pages, over 2,000 videos, and 180,000 images. This massive disclosure wasn't just another document dump, and it was a vault cracked open, revealing names, patterns, and connections that researchers immediately began dissecting. Among the hundreds of high-profile individuals listed across flight logs, communications, third-party interviews, and peripheral records, one name kept surfacing in ways that shocked even longtime observers: Ellen DeGeneres. According to circulating claims and online analysis of the files, Ellen's name appears repeatedly, not once or twice in passing, but in contexts that allegedly tie her to the broader Epstein network. Sources claiming Ghislaine Maxwell has been strategically sharing information from behind bars in exchange for improved conditions, customized meals, after-hours access, therapy dogs, and more comfortable arrangements suggest that Ellen's association goes far deeper than casual Hollywood socializing. These alleged disclosures reportedly highlight Ellen as part of an inner circle, with whispers describing her as one of Hollywood's most prolific consumers in the darkest sense of the term. Of course, these remain unverified prison rumors and online speculation. No final court judgment has confirmed any criminal wrongdoing by Ellen specifically, yet the sheer volume of mentions has fueled an unstoppable wave of public scrutiny. Long before the files dropped, however, the internet had already begun noticing strange patterns. It always circled back to pizza.
The idea that I will order pizza, and so if I do, I don't want it to go to waste. Who will eat pizza if Jennifer, yes? Harrison?
What started as quirky comedy bits evolved into something far more suspicious under closer examination. Ellen handing out pizza slices to A-list celebrities during the Academy Awards, guests like Jennifer Aniston publicly praising Ellen's legendary pizza parties, Adam Sandler appearing on her show and enthusiastically describing homemade pizza at Jennifer Aniston's house while sitting next to Ellen, recurring pizza segments on her long-running talk show. At the time, these were laughed off as harmless entertainment. Today, in light of long-standing Pizzagate theories involving coded language among elites, they read very differently. Authorities have repeatedly debunked such theories, yet the persistence of these clips, now viewed frame by frame by online communities, keeps the questions alive. The visual parallels run even deeper.
Ellen DeGeneres' stage set is exactly the same as on Epstein Island, with all the couches, the same colour, the same soft furnishings, palm trees, window, everything to the T.
Viewers began noticing the talk show set's striking resemblance to described interiors on Epstein's properties, the same soft, luxurious couches, light blue and white striped motifs, abundant palm trees, relaxed tropical ambiance, and overall architectural feel. Multiple commentators pointed out these details line up almost identically. Was this pure coincidence in set design, or inspiration drawn from someone who allegedly visited those exclusive spaces multiple times and chose to recreate the atmosphere for millions of daytime viewers? The timing of these observations, combined with Ellen's name appearing in the Epstein files, turned speculation into full narrative momentum. While these symbolic connections spread, Ellen's public image was already fracturing for entirely separate reasons. Marketed for years as the ultimate be kind ambassador, the cheerful, wholesome daytime television queen, cracks began showing behind the scenes. Former staff members came forward describing a toxic workplace culture filled with bullying, favoritism, fear, and mistreatment. Guests shared awkward, uncomfortable encounters that clashed with the on-air persona. One notable early voice described going on the show and immediately sensing something off, later stating publicly that Ellen's not that nice. These revelations, amplified by social media, made audiences revisit old episodes with fresh eyes. Moments where Ellen appeared cold, invasive, or overly controlling toward guests took on new meaning. In today's digital age, once suspicion takes root, every clip becomes evidence. The narrative tightens dramatically when Sean Diddy Combs enters the frame. frame. Diddy was not a distant guest on Ellen's show. He appeared multiple times as a comfortable, familiar presence. The two bantered like longtime insiders, openly discussing parties and after parties with noticeable ease.
Tell me about your birthday party. Am I invited?
Yes. Yes, you're definitely invited. I invite you to all my parties. You just haven't seemed to show up.
No, well, is it on the East Coast?
Yes.
Well, that's why. Why don't you have one here on the West Coast? Because I work all the time.
Okay, well, maybe I have one at your house.
Where's that? Now, what time would your party start, let's say?
Like 9:30.
Really? That early?
Yeah.
I could make that. But I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight. Like, what time will it go till?
That's a different type of party, though.
Uh-huh.
It'll go from like 9:30 to like maybe 3 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And then, we have the top 2 floors of the hotel.
Mm-hmm. And then it will carry on there?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Then the after party.
This public coziness matters because Diddy has been tied to exclusive, controlled environments, private gatherings where phones were surrendered, guest lists remained secret, and normal rules reportedly did not apply. Into this world stepped a very young Justin Bieber.
Check this out, yo. Justin, you ever seen the movie 48 Hours? Right now, he's having 48 hours with Diddy, him and his boy. They're having the times of their lives, like, where we hanging out and what we doing. We can't really disclose, but it's definitely a 15-year-old's dream. I have been given custody of him. He signed to Usher.
I'm signed to Usher.
I had legal guardianship of Usher when he did his first album. I did Usher's first album. I don't have legal guardianship of him, but for the next 48 hours, he's with me. So, and we gonna go full crazy.
I'm going crazy.
Crazy.
At just 13 years old, fresh from Canada, and thrust into mega fame, Bieber was guided by Usher and introduced to Diddy. The 48-hour stories, the private experiences that couldn't be disclosed, the controlled spaces, all of it now appears in a much harsher light when layered against Epstein's broader network of access and exploitation. Years later, Bieber's public emotional struggles, breakdowns, interviews where he spoke about the difficulty of being so young in the industry, and his strong protectiveness toward newer young artists like Billie Eilish read less like standard celebrity pressure and more like the scars of someone who witnessed things he desperately wishes to shield others from.
It was hard for me being that young and being in the industry and not knowing where to turn, and everyone, telling me they love me and, just turn their back on you.
The picture grows darker still, with accounts from those who claim they were treated as disposable within these overlapping circles.
Party favor.
What does that mean?
It was a party favor. I was somebody you could take off the table.
If Epstein's operation revolved around access, power, and consequence-free spaces, and Diddy's alleged gatherings operated in similar secrecy, then any crossover raises devastating questions. Who facilitated introductions? Who maintained the silence? Who ensured certain young talents remained compliant or isolated? Ellen's documented public warmth toward Diddy, her alleged mentions in the Epstein materials, the visual echoes of island aesthetics on her set, and her strategic withdrawal from the spotlight as pressure mounted around these names create a web of circumstantial connections that feels too intricate to dismiss as pure coincidence. Supporters argue these are nothing more than guilt by association and internet paranoia. Critics counter that the patterns, symbolic, behavioral, chronological, are simply too consistent. The pizza obsession, the set design, the Diddy friendship, the young Bieber's trajectory, the timing of career exits, the resurfaced testimonies. When viewed together as one layered story rather than isolated incidents, a troubling portrait emerges of how power allegedly operated in these elite Hollywood and beyond circles. None of the claims regarding Ellen DeGeneres have been proven in a court of law. All references to her involvement remain allegations drawn from document mentions, prison whispers, online speculation, and pattern analysis. The same applies to connections with Diddy or any exploitation involving young artists. This is narrative investigative storytelling based on publicly available clips, released files, and widespread discussion, not legal adjudication. Yet the public fascination grows because the story touches on deeper societal fears about protection, betrayal, and the true cost of fame for the youngest entrants. As more files potentially surface and old interviews receive fresh scrutiny, the questions refuse to fade. How many pizza parties were never really about pizza? How many private after parties crossed into territory that destroyed young lives? How many powerful figures allegedly looked the other way or actively participated while cameras rolled for the public but stayed off in the private rooms? The internet has decided the era of easy silence is over. Researchers continue combing through millions of pages. Clips, once considered funny, now land with dread. Survivors' voices gain new volume, and the central figures at the heart of these overlapping worlds find their carefully constructed images under unprecedented pressure. The DOJ files are public. The clips are everywhere. The patterns refuse to break. Whether full truth emerges tomorrow or years from now, one thing is certain: the conversation can no longer be contained. What happens when the pizza jokes stop being jokes? When the set design stops looking like coincidence? When the friendly talk show banter stops sounding innocent? And when young talents like Bieber are left carrying scars from rooms they were never meant to enter? The dots are connected. The audience is watching. Now the powerful must answer. Drop your thoughts, theories, and reactions in the comments. Which clip hit hardest for you? Which connection do you want explored next?